Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Jordan Warburton Occurrence. Today's episode connects back to the last one where I talked about fear and how it can change you and how it can influence decisions that you may make long term. I mentioned that some of the topics I talk about are linked, and this is one of them. I actually delayed this episode and the next because fear was something I want to talk about first while it was fresh in my mind. And another reason I start with fear is because I believe it leads perfectly into today's topic. I truly think that if we let fear consume us, it pulls us into a negative cycle in our own minds. So, what does fear lead into if we're not careful? In my experience, it leads into anxiety, and that's what I want to speak about today. I want to talk about anxiety and the danger of letting it consume us, of letting it trap us in a mindset that makes the world around us feel hostile and overwhelming realistically. As always, I want to say up front, I'm no mental health expert. I speak on these topics purely from my own perspective and personal experiences, and I always welcome other viewpoints. If you disagree with me or have different take, feel free to share it. I really do take on what people say, and sometimes it changes how I think and live. Who knows? You may even have a factor too that helps me grow as a person. So let's get into anxiety. What is it to me, and how has it affected my life? In all honesty, I could probably talk about how this for hours. I've dealt with anxiety for a long time, and for a big chunk of that time, I didn't really understand what it really was or how deeply it was affecting me. For years, I thought anxiety was just that nervous feeling, like when you're about to perform in a school play or do a group activity in front of the whole class, and that's what I associated anxiety with being nervous. But I was way off. The moment I realized I was actually suffering from anxiety was when I found myself sitting outside a shop, unable to go in. It wasn't a new shop. It was a place I went to all the time for the essentials. I was sitting in my car, completely stuck, wondering what the hell was wrong with me. And I know I'm not alone in that sort of feeling of being trapped. I'm sure many of you had moments like that, frozen, unable to move because the feeling of that anxiety is just so overwhelming. Before I experienced anxiety like that, I was one of those people who thought others just needed to get over it. I believe we all had anxiety. We just get on with the things. But looking back now, I know that wasn't the right attitude. Sure, there are times where we do have to push through. That is just life. But let's be realistic. We're humans, and as humans, we don't always make the best decisions. We do what we think is right in those moments. Does that mean we always get it right? Absolutely not. But does that mean we should stop trying? Of course not. We need to make decisions, even when we know we might get it wrong, because getting it wrong gives us something to learn from. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about being human. We can mess up and still grow. And think about animals in the wild. If they're not on top of the food chain, one wrong move could be the end for them. That's crazy, right? Just one bad instinct and boom, game over. But for us, we live in a world where we can afford to make the wrong call and just really learn from it. And that's something to like look at and be grateful for because I think a lot of us take it for granted. So, kind of glossed over my first big anxiety moment earlier, but I want to dig into it a little bit more. I realized I was dealing with anxiety when I found myself frozen, literally unable to do something I normally wouldn't even think twice about. My body and mind just shut down. I felt like a child waiting for my parents to tell me what to do, but there was no one there. It was just me and my mind. It felt like a bit of an out of body experience. It felt like I wasn't my adult self anymore. I felt like a younger version of me, lost and looking for reassurance. Physically, anxiety shows up as a lump in my throat, tight knots in my stomach, and mentally, it's like my mind is screaming at me to stop doing anything, stop functioning. It doesn't matter if it's going to the shop or getting ready for work. It can all feel too much sometimes. But what I try to do what I can to get through it is I just sort of ground myself. There's been a few moments in my life where anxiety became almost unbearable, and it's not just a one-time thing. It's shown up many different points in my life, especially when life can get overwhelming easily. And I look back and I wonder how the hell I made it through. Hindsight's always a bitch, but it also gives you clarity. It helps you recognize patterns. So if you end up in similar state of mind again, you've got better tools to handle it. One of the biggest things that has helped me is having space where I feel physically safe, whether that's my car, my house, or just a familiar corner of a room. I'll take a pause for 5, 10 minutes and focus on my breathing. And then when I feel a bit calmer, I'll put on music, a song I know all the words to, and then sing along. Just helps me pull me back to earth, really, and sort of brings my mind to the present moment and focus on what's ahead. It brings me that little bit of normality back, and it reminds me that anxiety is just an emotion. It's not something to run from. It's something to face and work through. If you're listening and you're someone who's struggling with anxiety too, I want you to know it's okay. You're not broken. You're not weak, and you can get through it in whatever way works for you. My advice: pause, breathe, and heal. Find something, even if it's one small thing, that helps you in those moments. Maybe it's always having your headphones there and playing your comfort song, or it's funny song. Vanessa Carlton, A Thousand Miles. Love that song. Always makes me laugh, makes me think of Terry Crews. Maybe it's something grounding yourself with a physical object. Whatever works for you. You don't have to beat anxiety in one massive leap. Just don't let it consume you. It's so much more than the feelings that come in hard moments. You can overcome this. For me, it's not about eliminating anxiety. It's about finding a way to calm the storm, or at least ride it out to get an ordinary amount of chaos in my head, because it's quite chaotic. I'll be honest. And then if I quickly go back to the last episode of fear, I really believe that anxiety and fear are part of a cycle. Fear can lead into anxiety, and anxiety can lead back into fear. And it's so easy to get trapped in that loop if you're not careful. So, how do we stop it? Back to my advice: pause, breathe, heal. It's a good starting point, but can we do it all the time? Honestly, no, we can't. But what we can do is just step back and become aware of what we're doing to ourselves mentally, recognize when fear or anxiety is taking over, and call it out to yourself, whether that's just mentally or just saying no just out loud. No shame in it. Just do whatever helps you. If you've never experienced anxiety that makes you freeze physically and mentally, count your lucky stars, because from my experience and from people I've spoken to, it's one of the hardest things to explain or understand from the outside. So if you don't understand it, don't be like I used to be. Don't just say, get over it. That mindset doesn't help. It creates distance between you and this person. It makes people with anxiety feel unseen and doesn't help validate their feelings. And I know pretty much everyone who's ever struggled with anxiety would love to just have a switch. Go, oh, no, it's off, gone now. I'm over it. But it just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So before I wrap this up today, I want to try something new. A final takeaway, and I'll just go from the get go. Anxiety doesn't define you, it's just something you experience. You have the strength to move through it, even when it feels heavy. Every time you face it, even in small ways, you're proving yourself that you're stronger than you think. Keep showing up for yourself. You're doing better than you realize. Be proud of yourself for fighting battles that no one else sees, for taking a step forwards, even if they seem small. If walking into a new shop is a big deal for you, celebrate it. What's small to someone might be massive for you, and that's all that matters. If it matters to you, celebrate it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode about anxiety. I know everyone's experience is different, but I hope something new helps you on your journey. This has been episode 7 of the Jordan Warburton Occurrence. I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.